According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, climate change impacts us, humans, as well. Though we often think about human-induced climate change as something that will happen in the future, it is an ongoing process. Ecosystems and communities in the United States and around the world are being impacted today. Average global temperatures rose about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, in other words 1.1 degrees Celsius, from 1901 to 2020. But climate change refers to more than an increase in temperature. It also includes sea level rise, changes in weather patterns like drought or flooding, and much more. Things that we depend on and value: water, energy, transportation, wildlife, agriculture, ecosystems, and human health are experiencing the effects of climate change. Glaciers are also shrinking. The average thickness of 30 well-studied glaciers has decreased more than 60 feet since 1980. The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has risen by 25% since 1958 and by about 40% since the Industrial Revolution.
To try and nowadays tackle climate change is a challenge. We now all know the 3 R's and to try and use electricity, but we never do these things because of the comfort we gain from not doing so. However, these problems will cause carbon dioxide emissions, so we need to use a small baby steps and start building up from there. Some things that we can do from a local level are starting to keep extra dustbins or bags in the kitchen. In that bag, throw anything that can be recycled, for example, paper, plastic, etc. Also, try to start using other transport that does not emit carbon dioxide, such as public buses, cycles, electric cars, etc. And lastly, don't throw litter off of vehicles. Wait to get home and throw the trash. This is a lot more common than you think. However, even some businesses and firms, when producing even eco-friendly products, will create some externalities. The electricity we use is mostly produced from fossil fuels, which have been the most common energy source. Although it won't be easy to adjust to renewable energy sources and not shut down production for fossil fuels, not a lot is being done to stop this issue. Some things the government can do are add a hefty tax on fossil fuels, production, and mines, make renewable energy resources, have little to no tax applied, apply more tax on things that release a lot of greenhouse gases, such as cigarettes and cigars, and give subsidies to tech companies that try to manufacture technology that improve efficiency so that less energy and electricity is used. We can't delay taking action to the excuse that innovation will come with an easy solution to stop climate change. These actions can delay global warming enough to possibly come up with the technology to reduce climate change and maybe even stop it. But whether we can stop climate change is very hard to say at this point because of the damage caused in just 2 decades, and people will continue to ignore this issue. But there's still a possibility that climate change can be solved. Roll the credits.
Hello. Welcome to the 3rd week of the Climate Action Project. Today we will be talking about the global effect of climate change. Global climate change is not a future problem. Changes to Earth's climate driven by increased human emissions of heat-trapping greenhouse gases are already having widespread effects on the environment. Glaciers and ice sheets are shrinking, river and lake ice is breaking up earlier, plant and animal geographic ranges are shifting, and plants and trees are blooming sooner. Effects that scientists had long predicted would result from global climate change are now occurring, such as sea ice loss, accelerated sea level rise, and longer, more intense heat waves. Some changes are happening faster than scientists previously assessed. In fact, according to the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the United Nations body established to assess the science related to climate change. Modern humans have never before seen the observed changes in our global climate, and some of these changes are irreversible over the next hundreds to thousands of years. Scientists have high confidence that global temperatures will continue to rise for many decades, mainly due to greenhouse gases produced by human activities. The IPCC's Sixth Assessment Report, published in 2021, found that human emissions of heat-trapping gases have already warmed the climate by nearly 1.1 degrees Celsius since pre-industrial times starting in 1750. The global average temperature is expected to reach or exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius within the next few decades. These changes will affect all regions of Earth. The severity of effects caused by climate change will depend on the path of future human activities. More greenhouse gas emissions will lead to more climate extremes and widespread damaging effects across our planet. However, those future effects depend on the total amount of carbon dioxide we emit. So, if we can reduce emissions, we may avoid some of the worst effects. One of these major effects includes hotter temperatures. As greenhouse gas concentrations rise, so does the global surface temperature. The last decade is the warmest on record. Since the 1980s, each decade has been warmer than the previous one. Nearly all land areas are seeing more hot days and heat waves. Higher temperatures increase heat-related illnesses and make working outdoors more difficult. Wildfires start more easily and spread more rapidly when conditions are hotter. Temperatures in the Arctic have warmed at least twice as fast as the global average. Next, our planet will experience more severe storms. Destructive storms have become more intense and more frequent in many regions. As temperatures rise, more moisture evaporates, which exacerbates extreme rainfall and flooding, causing more destructive storms. The frequency and extent of tropical storms is also affected by the warming ocean. Cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons feed on warm waters at the ocean surface. Such storms often destroy homes and communities, causing deaths and huge economic losses. This will also be paired with an increase in frequency of droughts. Climate change is changing water availability, making it scarcer in more regions. Global warming exacerbates water shortages in already water-stressed regions and is leading to an increased risk of agricultural droughts affecting crops, and ecological droughts increasing the vulnerability of ecosystems. Droughts can also stir destructive sand and dust storms that can move billions of tons of sand across continents. Deserts are expanding, reducing land for growing food. Many people now face the threat of not having enough water on a regular basis. However, the water level of the oceans, and their temperature will increase. The ocean soaks up most of the heat from global warming. The rate at which the ocean is warming strongly increased over the past 2 decades, across all depths of the ocean. As the ocean warms, its volume increases since water expands as it gets warmer. Melting ice sheets also cause sea levels to rise, threatening coastal and island communities. In addition, the ocean absorbs carbon dioxide, keeping it from the atmosphere. But more carbon dioxide makes the ocean more acidic, which endangers marine life and coral reefs. The loss of species, however, will not be limited to the ocean. Climate change poses risks to the survival of species on land and in the ocean. These risks increase as temperatures climb. Exacerbated by climate change, the world is losing animal species at a rate 1,000 times greater than at any other time in recorded human history. 1 million different species are at risk of becoming extinct within the next few decades. Forest fires, extreme weather, and invasive pests and diseases are among many threats related to climate change. Some species will be able to relocate and survive, but others will not. Unfortunately, we will also see a lack of food production as well. Changes in the climate and increases in extreme weather events are among the reasons behind a global rise in hunger and poor nutrition. Fisheries, crops, and livestock may be destroyed or become less productive. With the ocean becoming more acidic, marine resources that feed billions of people are at risk. Changes in snow and ice cover in many Arctic regions have disrupted food supplies from herding, hunting, and fishing. Heat stress can diminish water and grasslands for grazing, causing declining crop yields and affecting livestock. One of the more understated effects of climate change is its effect on human health. Climate change is the single biggest health threat facing humanity. Climate impacts are already harming health, through air pollution, disease, extreme weather events, forced displacement, pressures on mental health, and increased hunger and poor nutrition in places where people cannot grow or find sufficient food. Every year, environmental factors take the lives of around 13 million people. Changing weather patterns are expanding diseases, and extreme weather events increase deaths and make it difficult for healthcare systems to keep up. We will also witness an increase in poverty. Climate change increases the factors that put and keep people in poverty. Floods may sweep away urban slums, destroying homes and livelihoods. Heat can make it difficult to work in outdoor jobs. Water scarcity may affect crops. Over the past decade, weather-related events displaced an estimated 23.1 million people on average each year, leaving many more vulnerable to poverty. Most refugees come from countries that are most vulnerable and least ready to adapt to the impacts of climate change.
Its impact on our planet
scenarios.
Our national security.